And last year, obviously, Brazil had a pretty historic win, beating them in this competition, and then which Chile then reversed later in the year. So should be an interesting matchup here. I'd expect the Chilean forwards to do pretty well in the first instance, but very warm day, as you mentioned, about 28 degrees centigrade, so getting up towards about 90 Fahrenheit here in Chile.
And as you can see there, we've already had one matchup in round one, and one can consider that quite a shock. Uruguay beating Canada in Canada.
Yeah, and that's the first leg of a double header, which is huge implications for the Rugby World Cup qualifiers for next year. So Canada will have to lift their game going back to Uruguay and try and avenge that defeat. And if we look at the starting lineups now, we have Brazil. So a couple of names to point out there in the forwards. The hooker Rossetti is the captain, plays his club rugby in Argentina for Cuba, Club University Buenos Aires. Aruda, good, strong ball-carrying number 8. Josh Reeves plays at 10. He's a New Zealand-born fly half. And Sansuri, which is the outside centre, is a pretty dynamic runner there for them. So we'll be looking at those sort of key players in this particular clash. Head coach is Rodolfo Ambrosio. If we run over towards Chile now, and again, just to point out a few names, the number 7, Escobar, is a young guy. He's making his debut today. He was captain of the under-20 teams at the last Junior World Cup, and an impressive player, impressive person. Ben Soto plays his club rugby in Stade Francais. He's the number 8 for them. Also keep an eye out for Perota. He's the halfback for Chile. Really does control the game, and he's a very influential part of this team.
Two evenly matched sides indeed. Let's see, the starting team age of the Chileans is around 26 years of age, and a total of 273 international appearances for the Chilean team. And Brazil, Os Tupis, actually are coming in a little more experienced with 289 total caps in their starting lineup, and a little bit younger as well. Average age of 25, so plenty of youth mixed in with some experience as well. You can see those early nerves there. Should be a wonderful, wonderful matchup. Beautiful weather in Santiago. Playing at the local stadium. It holds around 6,000 people. Great little rugby venue. You see a lot of soccer being played there as well. And they're just waiting to come onto the field. See who can get the early advantage. Exciting stuff, Johnny.
Yeah, it's really exciting for the players, the beginning of this competition. As we mentioned, they shared the honours last year, so the players know each other, you can see, they're familiar, and it's going to be a good clash. It's going to be tense, it's going to be exciting for them. They really want to get off on the right foot in this competition. That's the key thing. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge for these two squads to compete with the bigger names, the Argentinas and the USAs in this competition. So this really is their grand final right now. This is the one that is playing for 5th position, if you like, to be realistic about it. So they know that. So there's a good energy in this stadium today, and you can see the players are keyed up for it as they walk out for the anthems.
Yes, Chile looking to redeem themselves from last year's ARC effort. They lost all 5 of their matches, and it started right here against this very team, Brazil, who had a shock defeat down in Brazil. It was a rainy affair. It was quite a slippery game, tough encounter, but Brazil taking that one out, and that set them up for quite a decent tournament. Now we will pause as we listen to the national anthems of Brazil and Chile.
Vindo do Ipiranga as margens plácidas de bom verão dobrado Los Cóndores de Chile. Alineación de los equipos. Para Brasil, en la primera línea.
There you have it, folks.
Ian Rossetti.
Two teams, the passion, the patriotism never fails to put hairs on the back of your neck seeing rugby players belt out their national anthem. We have the man in the middle, Pablo De Luca, who'll be calling the match today. And if you're just joining us, perfect timing. You are about to watch the kickoff between the hosts, Chile and Brazil, in this second match of the first round of this America's Rugby Championship of 2018. Once again, I'm Mark Stavina. Joining me in the commentary box for some expert analysis is Johnny Cox. And quickly, Johnny, what do you anticipate this match looking like today?
I think if we look at the game and we look at the sort of history between the two teams, I think that most folk think that the Chileans have a fairly decent set of forwards. So I think that's where it's going to be a key battle. But I would be hoping, given the conditions, that we can have some good running rugby today. But I think we're getting ready for a minute's silence now.
Sorry, say that again. That's good. Moments away from kickoff here, folks. Brazil taking on the hosts, Chile, in this second match of round one of the 2018 America's Rugby Championship. You see the man in the middle, Pablo De Luca from Argentina, just waiting for the official announcement that he can get this game underway. Beautiful weather here in Santiago, Chile at Estadio de la Pintana. Plenty of numbers on that far side of the field come out to watch their nation's best players. Can they get off to a better start than last year's championship? They lost all 5 of their matches, and their first match was against Brazil as well. Suffering a shock defeat, 17 points to 3. Can they turn it around today? And we are underway as Santiago Videla stabs the ball long. It manages to bounce in play for the first line out of the match.
Yeah, fairly unconvincing start from Brazil there, unfortunately. Didn't secure that ball from the kickoff. And now they've got a little bit of pressure on them. Their first line out on their own 22. Let's see how they go with this set piece.
Rossetti, the captain, gets a good throw away as it's put downfield, high and long. It's brought in nicely by Balboltin, the left winger. As the ball is launched into the stratosphere, it comes down, hits the ground. Looks like it might still be in Brazil's hands now as they bring it away, just outside the 40-metre line. Plenty of gusto coming in from the red jerseys. Great counter-rucking there, but Brazil managing to hold on to the ball as we have Perota finding his fly half, putting it down there. That's Reeves, Joshua Reeves, the New Zealand-born player. One of the most prominent figures in this Brazilian team. And Chile just managing to get it over the sideline, but it's a good territorial game for Brazil.
Yeah, a little bit of nervous start from both teams. A fair bit of kicking as you'd expect for an occasion of this stature. So the team should settle down, I think, in the next few minutes and string through a few phases together.
Rossetti not finding his mark on this occasion as Chile come up with the ball. Comes out to the right now as the forwards get around the corner. Just driving it forward. Perota finds Munita. He gains 1 metre. Now out to the right-hand side. Nice little step back on the inside. That was Videla. Gets the ball away, but it goes into yellow jersey's hands, and it is Burad Kuhe bringing it away. Lots of early turnovers here for both teams. So just some early nerves, some jitters in the first few moments of the game as it's stabbed through by Reeves. Lovely kick there. Great territorial gain. That's a wonderfully placed kick and putting Brazil in the right end of the field.
Yeah, really sensible game management there from Reeves. Just drilling the ball into the corner. Really was a lovely kick. So it's just 5 metres out now from the Chilean line, and they have a bit of pressure on their line out here. Let's see how their set piece reacts.
Should be Thomas Ducelant's first throw of the game. 31 years of age for the hooker. Finds his mark. He's at the back now. Little dummy from Soto, the number 8. Played 33 caps for Chile. Really experienced player in the back row there. Box kick coming from Perota. Easily taken. Brazil now on the counter-attack. That's Tronquez. Nice run from him. Out to the left, plenty of numbers. Look at those yellow jerseys lined up, just ready to go. Good defense by Chile. But Brazil on the charge. Back down the right-hand side. Nice tackle coming in there from the left winger. Balboltin coming back to the left. Not gaining any yards at all with this wall of red jerseys. Some little interchange of passing there. To the left. Back to Reeves. Hoists it high. Fullback is under it. That's Ianazuski. Quick tap. Away he goes. Surely that wasn't 10. Play on, says the referee. As now it's kicked forward. Find some space. Little number 9, Perota. Tronquez has to retreat to get back to that. Nearly kicking duel now. It's put high and long. Did it stay in? Despite the best attempts of Videla, looks like the ball has come down just in touch.
I mean, that is a massive kick. Absolutely massive. We're just watching a little bit here of the ball retention of Brazil. I think we're seeing two different styles here. The Brazilian team looking to move the ball. Josh Reeves, nice soft hands. Tronquez at fullback, looks like he's got a bit of thrust. Whereas Chile really, looking at the set piece, a lot of kicking from hand from Perota. So we're just seeing how the tempo of the match develops as the line out comes in here from Chile. Well won. And again, that box kick.
Put up high now. Comes down with Lucas Muller out to his back line. There's a line ball there. Still, again, play on. Lovely step back on the inside by Duque. Very experienced player for Brazil. One of their top point scorers. Out to the right. Quick hands there. That was lovely from Burgo. Out to the right again. Duque finds his front row forward. Looks like Andrade. Slowing the ball down, Chile. Referee says hands out, please. It comes out to the right again. Looking a little bit disjointed now, Brazil, so it goes to the boot of Reeves yet again. Puts it high, hoping for the 50-50. Comes down, that's exactly what it is, but down on Chile's hands. And now, lovely run here by the fullback. Toes it forward. It's going to be a foot race between these two. Who will win it? Oh, no one wins it. Eventually, it's Reeves, gets his hand to it. Wow.
Well.
Exciting stuff early on. Great play from the fullback, Thomas Januszewski.
Yeah, that was excellent play from him. I think we're going to see, if not a penalty for obstruction, then definitely a penalty for forcing the ball with his hands over the line from the Brazilian fullback, or perhaps maybe it was the Brazilian 10, Reeves. He's just checking that. Yeah, that's where we're going now. We're going to have a look if there's any obstruction, I think, on the initial play, which I think there was a hint of it. And then definitely he then pushed the ball across the line with his hands, which is illegal, and that wouldn't surprise me if that was a yellow card. So either way, there's going to be some punishment here for Brazil. So the ref now going through this, obviously in Spanish, so we might struggle to assist you exactly with that translation. I thought the play leading up to it was very interesting, actually, Mark, because if you look at the way Brazil were playing, they were trying to move the ball, shifting it multiple phases, but the Chilean defence was that good. It was really off the line quickly, and it stymied them, and you could tell they had a lot of trouble realigning and getting any depth. And as you said, they sort of came to a grinding halt. They had to kick the ball down, and from that broken field play, that's where this attacking opportunity came from Chile.
Yes, that's where Brazil really relies on the boot of Joshua Reeves. And
here's our replay. You can just see, is he pushed him there? Probably not. That's shoulder to shoulder for mine. But here you can see Josh Reeves. He definitely palms that ball intentionally over the back. That is not allowed in rugby union, and that will be a penalty. Is it a penalty try? That's a tough one. Would a try probably have been scored for the foul play? I mean, that is the point, because there is a man coming up in support. 15 is now out of the game. That, for me, shoulder to shoulder. But this is illegal. If he hadn't done that, then you would probably assume that Januszewski would have scored.
Yeah, for mine, all Reeves needed to do was just ground the ball.
Correct. So he doesn't need to make this play. He just needs to ground the ball.
And then we'll come back for a 22-metre. Maybe in his head, in the panic, he thought, well, would it be a 5-metre scrum? Have I touched it? Have I not?
Well, yeah, and he may be a rugby league background where you can do that.
That's right.
That's probably part of it too. We've seen Sonny Bill, I think, do a similar thing for the All Blacks as well.
So, brilliant insight from the brilliant rugby mind of Johnny Cox here. Let's see if the referee agrees with Johnny's expert analysis.
Well, he's referring to it. I think he's going for the yellow. His hand's going near the pocket. He's explaining it, and he is going to give a penalty try, I think. He's walking across. Yep. And that's probably fair enough. If it wasn't for the foul play, the fullback, Thomas Januszewski, would have scored a try. So that's the 7-pointer.
Well,
straight away.
Yep, the first try of the match scored under somewhat controversial circumstances. So yellow card as well to number 10. That's going to hurt Brazil. Joshua Reeves, their main playmaker, already 10 minutes in the bin. Yeah,
that really is a challenging start for them. Let's see how they react. And as per the new laws, penalty try, you don't need to actually kick the conversion anymore. You just awarded with 7 points.
Thank you, Johnny Cox. So the ball goes high in the air, lands just inside the 22-metre zone of Chile. 7 points ahead. And we just actually had confirmation there was not a yellow card, so Brazil will be pleased about that. Reeves still on the field, obviously. He was the one that kicked off. So we remain with 15 players per team. Just 7 points on the board for Chile. Duceylon gets it in. Well contested by Brazil. Manages to come down on Chile's side, though, as they scramble forward. Numbers coming around. Brazil quickly up in defence there. Pass out the back. Nice run and equally well tackled by his opposite number. That was Sanseri, very experienced player. Nice pass there and good little offload between the forwards there. That was Lastra to Bursic. Chile looking strong. Brazil coming in with the counter ruck ferociously. And that's the right winger, Urtia. Nowhere to go, so takes his medicine. Perota has a little crack. Another pick and drive. Just ambling their way forward, Chile. Controlling things. Comes out the back through Videla. Again, great defence from Brazil. Videla. Perota, rather. Bursic. Going through the phases, but not gaining any territory here, Chile. Now they're even back in their own half as they bring it up to the 40-metre line. That's a strong run from Soto. Still going, Soto, the big man. So hard to put down. So he gets the ball back now. What can they do, Chile? Little knock on there, that's a shame. Will Brazil play quickly? Looks like they're counter-attacking here, so they come out to the left. Nice little step there from Sanseri. Long passage of play here. Chile putting it through at least a dozen phases before turning the ball over. Goes back for the kick. Finds some space down the middle. Plenty of numbers back there for Chile, but they're going to opt for the kick. As Ianazuski, the man responsible for the penalty try, launches it downfield and around about the 40-metre line for Brazil. Not a bad piece of play there, Johnny Cox. No,
I mean, very energy-sapping for the players in this heat, but you saw there when Chile had a little bit of field position, really going through their phases. You can see the influence of the head coach there, Mark Cross from New Zealand. A couple of second-man plays in there, really just, threatening to break open Brazil, but some good defence, good line speed from Brazil, led by Artur Burgo, the blind side. Another line out here from Brazil, doesn't hit the target, and that's Chilean ball.
Chile yet again dominating possession early on. Driving forward in numbers. Perota finds his number 10, Videla. Good defence again, just pinning them back behind their line. It's called a maul. The ball's now going to ground. It is Brazil's ball. It was held up initially, so good decision there.
Yeah, some really good defence there from Brazil. I think it was the number 8, Arruda. Probably more better known for his ball carrying ability, but some great defence, taking the momentum away from the Chilean side. So they have a nice attacking opportunity here, right in centre field, scrum. One of your favourite places to attack from, probably, Mark.
I would say, as you see, the field is split. You've got space to the right, space to the left. The old classic 8-9-15 would be the normal call, Johnny.
That certainly would. So it's gone a little bit out of fashion recently. I think they need to bring it back.
They've got to bring it back.
Such a good move.
They've got to bring it back. And will head coach Rodolfo Ambrosio for Brazil have that in his armoury? And have they been practicing the 8 pick, go to the right, back to number 9, to the fullback. Plenty of space. It could go either way. That's the beauty of having a scrum centre field. There's the 8, there's the 9. There's the 12, which is normally the 15 position, but put forward by Duque. Nice little kick and a good territorial gain from Brazil, just calming things down. They need more possession and territory, so that was their tactic. in that position of the field. The referee just having a little chat with his assistant referee on the sideline there. Not sure what they're talking about.
Probably about the scrum, because it collapsed and he chose not to call it up, and that was the reason really that move didn't work so well for them. Ball was static, the 8 didn't have an opportunity to come around the corner and draw the first guy, had to pass from the base, and then it's just man on. So the kick to the corner I thought was a pretty good option from 12.
It was a good option. An audible call there.
From Moises Duque. Nice little kick. The forwards will be happy with that because you've now got a line-out, chance to put some pressure on the throw of Duceon.
Let's see what he can do. 15 caps for Chile. Plays for the Old Boys Club in Santiago. Tomás Duceon. More of a French-sounding name than a Chilean name. Nonetheless, the ball goes high for a box kick. It's going to go straight out. Quick play from Brazil. Plenty of numbers back. The counter-attack is on. The wild pass out to the left to that South African winger, David van Niekerk. Gaining some more experience. Only a young man when he came onto the scene for the same championship last year. As Chile now pushing up in defence, forcing Brazil back. They've lost about 15 metres. Looking to the left now. Back to Reeves. Onto that left boot of his. Goes high. Opting for the 50-50 as opposed to just trying to gain some territory. Chile have brought it in. Might have been a knock-on though.
Yeah, little knock-on. A little bit messy that. You can see when Chile get amongst Brazil, they do struggle to realign, struggle to get penetration and organisation off those second and third phases, and that's going to be of some concern to them as this game develops. Here we see just a little messy and just a little knock-on there on the floor.
Some early nerves. Take a high ball like that. It's good conditions for it.
Oh, such a beautiful day. It reminds me of a sort of hot, sort of spring Southern California day. You know, a little bit of smog. You can't quite see the Andes in the background. You can see the outline of them. So a very still day, very warm conditions. So substitutes will play a role in this game, especially in the tight 5. A little bit of push and shove, but he's decided to give a penalty there to Brazil. Chile are probably considered the stronger scrum, but I've never met a prop that didn't think that they were in the right whenever there was a collapsed scrum. So you can tell here the impact of the altitude. So Brazil now looking to go for goal from, what, 4 metres out on the angle there, Mark?
Huge kick. Huge kick, just slightly off centre to the left. Not normally a problem for Joshua Reeves. 27 years of age. Plays for one of the strongest clubs in Brazil, the Bandeirantes Saracens. This team is littered with players from the Sao Paulo team. Reeves shapes up. Comes back for another little look. Just lining it up. Will he have the distance? Not a lot of breeze to speak of. See his coiffed hair just blowing slightly, so there might be a little bit into his face. Oh, great kick, great strike, and it is through. Beautiful kick by Joshua Reeves. That'll send a message to Chile. You do not want to play ill-disciplined rugby with a man like that and a boot like that. So he brings the scores closer. 7 points to 3 to the hosts. Brazil finally on the board through the boot of Joshua Reeves.
Well, somewhat contentious scrum penalty there, but the result is a firm indication of where some of the strength of this Brazilian team lies, and that is with the left boot of Josh Reeves. So we'll be watching that with some interest as the game develops.
Definitely see what tactics Chile employed to neutralise the boot of Josh Reeves, but for now, it's Van Niekerk brings it forward and knocks it on. So Chile come up with it straight away. They're on the charge, 22 metres out from the try line as they come through. Mario Mayol, driving forward. Out to the left now. Pass behind. That's Videla. Perota comes in. Finds Munita. Just inside the 22-metre zone of Brazil now. Out to the left again. Some good passing interchanges. Step and go from Bursic. He's lost it forward. That's a shame for Chile. They were looking quite strong there, but Brazil come away. Chance for them now to get out of their own zone. Clear the red zone. And Duque comes in. Uses his experience. Puts it high. That's well taken there. Around the bootlaces by the right winger, Urrutia. Dummy. Perota. Taken, so no scrum half. Substitute scrum half comes in the form of Soto. Now it's out to the right. Some wild passing at the back. Nice flat pass there in the end. Good defense again from Brazil as they advance. Chile have lost some yards. They'll regroup. Some forwards walking into play. As we said, it's a very hot day in Santiago. Losing a little bit of shape, Chile. As Brazil looking strong in defence. They drive forward. Chile maintaining possession well. Perota looks for the kick, shapes, takes it in. Reeves was right there. So now, Chile, what can they do? Lacking a little structure. Keeping it tight. Putting it through the phases. It's a good peace of mind there from... Presence of mind, I should say, from Mayol. He's still going. Some great play from the big man. That gets Chile going forward. Still, another pick and drive, keeping it tight. Backs her out to the left. Perota. Now through the hands of the number 10. And then Bursic now standing out in the middle of the field. Still with Chile. Perota. Steps, dummies. He's monstered. He might be held up as well. The ball finally goes to ground. So still with Chile. Coming through the phases. Lovely run there from the hooker, Duceon. And he has dropped it as well.
Just a little knock on off that offload. Really promising move. They just got some thrust in the middle of the field. You felt they were just getting on top of the Brazilian defence there. Just the smallest little knock on. It was a nice out the door. Backdoor pass. Just a shame it didn't go to hand, but good play from Chile because they had to regroup. They found themselves in a very static situation and they went back to their strength, and their strength is their forwards. And the pick and go there was fantastic from Mayol and followed up by Soto. Interesting to see, actually. Brazil don't look to compete too much at the ruck and the maul. Certainly at lineouts, they're almost backing off in a interesting way to defend that situation. And also in the ruck, they're fanning out and looking to get line speed. So it's an interesting way they're going about defensively, the strategy here. I think we've got time off here for an injury or a blood bin, I think it is, for the big prop forward there from Brazil. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of blood.
As you mentioned, Johnny, it's good to see the ball going through so many phases as well. I remember calling this match last year in the rain.
Yeah.
And
well,
very rarely got past 2 or 3 phases. It was a very stop-start affair. So great to see the ball going through the phases. A lot of patience being showed there by Chile just to regroup, as you said. And all it takes is a little spark.
Yeah.
Just to get them going, and they got going forward. Brazil then on the back foot. But as you mentioned, good defence from Brazil, and they are more content with just sticking their numbers out, creating a yellow wall in defence. Their line speed is quick. That's definitely a tactic of theirs.
Yeah.
Rather than just contesting and giving any kind of penalties away at the ruck as well.
Yeah, we're just looking now back through a few of the highlights of some of the early exchanges. It was a nice step there from the Chilean 10. That was early in the game from Videla. Just went straight past the second row. He saw the mismatch, and that's what he's got to be looking for as well. As the game progresses and the players get a little bit more tired in this heat, you'll get some fleet-footed backs who will find that out wide they've got some bigger, perhaps slower forwards, and they really need to take advantage of that in those mismatches out wide.
Great pitches there, and there's that knock-on after about 3,000 phases. Chile just couldn't hang on, got a little bit excited there.
So Andrade just getting attended to, so the reason for the rather lengthy delay here, but he's got his head taped up and He's got some headgear on. I bet he's not enjoying that in this heat. But anyway.
Safety first, Johnny.
Of course, but he's back into the fold now, and we're ready to start. It's going to be a scrum to Brazil following that knock-on from Chile, and it's just outside their 22. So they won't be able to kick directly into touch here. So let's see what they come up with. Their first inclination here has been to run, so I'll be interested to see if they're looking to have an opportunity, perhaps with some of the Chilean players in the backfield, as it were.
Comes at the back now to Reeves. That left boot puts it high and long. Manages to bounce in space. Comes down now through Balboltin. Zuski finally putting it long. See this high altitude, thin air. Ball is soaring.
Yeah, well, he's completely miscalculated there. He's kicked it out in the full from his own 10-metre line, so that's a mistake after a massive kick downfield. But now Chile have an opportunity to structure an attack, and we shall see what they come up with off the back of this line-out. If they go to the front, where they've been going for the most part, well, they might try to go to the back and set up a driving more with their forwards. Let's see how this unfolds.
Johnny Cox with his crystal ball. Comes off the back now. Dummy there. De La Fuente. Here's the man. Some strong tackles coming in on Javier Richard. Out to the left. Puts his head down and goes. That's Ducillon. Lays it back nicely. And they come now, Chile. Some flat-footed forwards there. Escobar. Trying to gain some yardage. Kick ahead from the scrum half. Perota comes down now with Brazil as they have some numbers and a little bit of space, so they bring it to the left. Plenty of numbers now. 2v1. Use it well. Vanico comes back in. Back to safety. He does well. Brazil now on the charge. Can they find some space through the middle? The Chileans rush up to try and neutralise the attack. Still with Brazil. Fighting for the ball there. There's a counter ruck. Looks like two wingers going at it. Very rarely see that in the middle of the field in a ruck, but it's Brazil nonetheless that come away with it. Flat-footed yet again. That's easy prey for the Chilean defence. Back to the left. Reeves. Dummies. Steps. Met by a crunching two-man tackle. Same way for Brazil. Lovely hands again and strong defence coming in. Chile as they pile in for the counter ruck. He's done well on the ground, however. Maintaining possession, so still with Brazil. Look at that line speed from Chile coming up, and it works.
Excellent tackles there.
Ball laid back. Had no option whatsoever but to put the box kick up, and that's exactly what Chile want. He's called a mark, so the game will pause. And what about that defence from Chile, Johnny?
Yeah, some really good defence there from Javier Richard. He actually forced a turnover from Van Niekerk earlier off the kickoff, which was an excellent tackle. Some good sportsmanship being showed there before this mark is taken, equivalent of a free kick in their own 22. But yeah, you can see if Brazil can get that quick front foot ball, they look dangerous. It was great work clearing up there from the halfback Burakue to set that counter-attack alight. But it's when they get stifled by this Chilean defence, they really struggle. So we've got a couple of injuries here, so we might have another stoppage in play. Two of the Chilean forwards are down. Just looking the ball going through. This is another excellent tackle. Good pick-up and leg drive. Looked legal to me. Certainly not above the horizontal from what I can see. Just erring on it, so he has to be careful. Definitely has to be careful. But he got away with it, or perhaps now the referee is taking a look. I'm not sure.
He was definitely flirting with the rules.
Yeah, you really need to control the player as he goes through that horizontal plane. Just shaking that off, the Chilean halfback there, Perota. Tendency to overplay his hand in this team. I know he's very experienced, but does like to try and go himself. But he does have a good release valve in the event of static ball. He just chips it over, or a box kick, so he's very composed, very controlled. I think he understands his, the limitations of his game and where he needs to put his forwards. So it's going to be a Brazilian throw, just on halfway.
Rossetti, the captain, Quick throw to the front. That went 5 yards. Coming back in now. Rugby. The nippy little scrum half. Back now for the forwards just to pick and drive. Expect to see this Chilean defence to rush up. Comes out now through the hands of the forward pack. Ends up in the hands of Vidorato. Makes a couple of metres. Reeves pulls it back on a little switch back on the inside. Still yet to gain any yardage, Brazil. Using both sides of the field. A little disorganised. Chilean defence pours through. Easy pickings for them. But still with Brazil. Out to the right now. Put out the back door. Playing with a little bit more depth now due to this stifling defence from Chile. Actually losing metres here, Brazil, and they're all flat-footed, failing to gain any kind of depth or running onto the ball. So it goes to the boot. Rugby puts it high, brought in nicely from Chile, and it will be a penalty to Los Condores.
Yeah, and look, that's just from defensive pressure. It's a poor box kick, and the players are fatigued, and you have to retreat out of the 10-metre circle. They didn't. They walked towards it. Doesn't really matter if they're onside or not. If you're within that 10 metres, that's that, and that's where that penalty comes from. I think Brazil's got a bit of a conundrum here. You can tell they want to move the ball, but if they don't get front foot, they find themselves in trouble. So what do? Do you say to yourself as a coach, well, we're going to keep running because we're going to wear them down, we've just got to keep at it, that's the game plan? Or do you say, let's run 1 or 2 strike moves. If we don't get behind them, let's use the boot of Reeves, put it in the corner, play position, because they're going to kick it back to us and we'll get another go somewhere around the halfway or their 10-metre line. So it's an interesting conundrum, I think, for the moment for Brazil, how they approach the rest of this game and trying to outwit the defence of Chile.
Absolutely right, Johnny. Get the sense that maybe Brazil just needs a couple of the experienced players to step up and run with a little bit more gusto, use their feet, just try, even if they're not making clean breaks, just get in behind the defensive line somehow to get some forward momentum and then build from that. The team needs to follow. As you said, nobody's doing that at the moment. It looks like their fitness might be failing a little bit as well in the heat for mine. And we've just had a replacement now. Talking about Brazil, big number 8, Andre Chile. The big number 8, Soto, comes off.
I think he's just getting a bit of a blood attendant to mark, so he should be back on soon.
Let's hope so for Chile's sake. He's one of the more dynamic runners. So it is for a blood bin. Expect to see him back shortly as Januszewski finds the line. Brings his team back up to the halfway. So let's see what Brazil can do now. 26 minutes gone in this first half already.
Still very much in it, Brazil. Less than a score, obviously. I think if they can get front football, they can really cause trouble.
Rossetti. Throws to the back. Brought down nicely. Reeves, look at that deep line of attack from Brazil. Great tackle from the centre of Chile. Out to the right now. Trying to make some inroads. Playing with plenty of depth. Reeves drops it onto the boot. And that will help their cause, but once again, Johnny, not looking like they're going to do anything with that ball in hand.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of chain passing. I like the width on the ball, but then when it came to the final thrust, I think it was the number 8 that was out there. It just got very static as the tight forwards came over. It was a really good kick from Reeves. So I think he's realising if we're not making a break or we're not getting sort of the half break, then I need to play territory. And he's obviously got a very cultured boot. He beautifully finds the touch lines off those sort of deep rolling kicks. So it's not a bad tactic.
See if Brazil can back it up now. Put some pressure on of their own for Chile. Prevent them from coming out of their red zone. Perota puts it on the left boot. It's going out in the full. And they were inside the 22, so that's fine. Touch judge comes down to the mark where the ball crossed the sideline, and not a bad territorial gain.
Yeah, nice strong carry from Danino. He's just come on to replace Soto for that blood bin. Really nice first contact for him. They'll be happy with that in this international game in Santiago.
It was a good exit strategy by Chile. No mucking around. Hit it up, put it on the boot, get back down the other end of the field. As now Brazil.
It's not straight.
It is not straight, and it comes straight into the hands of Chile, and they charge forward now through Bursik. And he's lost it again. That's the second time he's done that in contact as it comes away now. Nice little break from the scrum half. Burad Kuhe, he finds on the right-hand side Duque. Can he go all the way? It's a foot race now between him and the fullback. Great tackle. That's a try-saver from Ian Ozuski. But in come the yellow jerseys if they can just maintain possession. And it looks like they have. Reeves there holding the fort. Out to the left now. Plenty of numbers. Oh, he's left without it. That was the number 7, Escobar. He'll be ruining that opportunity lost as Chile now breathe a sigh of relief. Little box kick, it's gone out. So, can't believe it.
Well, Chile from that. This is the counter attack, and that's Duque, and he defected the strip. Actually, Chile were all over them, right into their 22. It's a great rugby league style strip. See, he's not held there. He gets to his feet and goes. They just got caught here again a bit statically. I would have thought that, that's a ruck. Let's get the red hands off the ball. But in any event, Brazil still on the attack. They have the ball from this line out. It's a better win from them.
Another bite at the cherry for Brazil as Reeves to Duque. He's met well. Midfield. Numbers come around to the left. Ball goes the same way. Sanseri. He has a crack, drives forward. Quick ball now for Brazil. Back on the inside. That's a beautiful pass. Will he go all the way? Oh, he's brought down inches from the try line. Brazil, another try saver for Chile. Can they keep it that way? Ball comes back. Pick and drive. He's a strong man. Did he get over? Looks like he might have. Looks like it's held up. He's called the try. That's a try to Brazil. Well done. Finally, the pressure that they mounted has resulted in points, and they have found themselves in the lead all of a sudden, Johnny Cox.
Yeah, it's a great try from Veterato, and he's enjoying that. That 1 metre rumble is going to turn into a 10, 15 metre rumble. But really nice hands there from the fullback from Brazil, Tranquez. That really made that try. Just taking the ball really hard, popped inside. I think it was the number 6, Burgo, that he goes to. He's held up, and you see the big man here, the front row. He's like, I will not be denied. I'm going to get this ball down. Whether he did or not, I'm not quite sure. But he's pretty happy. Big heart up into the crowd. Big man absolutely stoked with that try.
You saw him when he crashed over. He looked up immediately for validation.
Didn't he, what? The big heart sign.
Great try. And it's so funny. I mean, just moments ago we were talking about Brazil struggling to make any inroads against this strong Chilean defence. But you call it, Johnny, you said it, 7 points to 3. They had possession. They were still in it. And all it takes is a little breakaway from Duque early on that got them down this end of the field. Reeves now with his radar boot to add the extras. And it just shaves inside the right-hand upright, so he does that indeed. 10 points to 7. The visitors, Brazil over Chile, the hosts here in Santiago. It's a beautiful day for rugby. The crowd has turned out. Already 32 minutes gone. Johnny Cox, we're in for a thriller.
Yeah, it's a great try. That good set-piece strike move, as we kind of suggested, would be the best avenue for them to go down, and then finished off by the big tight forward. So good work from Brazil. As I said, when they get that front foot ball, they look really dangerous. Now Chile, what have they got to come back here?
Hoisting it high into the 22-metre zone of Brazil. Van Niekerk cleans it up. A bit argy-bargy in the ruck there. Reeves puts it downfield. Counter-attack now from Ian Ozuski. Out to the left. Great tackle. They bring it into Brazil's half, just like that. Pulling it back is Porota. Finds a forward runner. Well met by the Brazilian defence. Same way now for Chile. Nice miss pass there. And a dummy there from Bursik. He gets in behind the defence. Can't quite bring it in.
Second knock
on. Another knock on. You're right. So, such a shame there. Great run from Bursik. Looked for the offload. Perhaps a little bit hard. They weren't expecting it back on the inside.
Yeah, they just made a break. They had numbers there on the outside, and they just couldn't quite get that last pass to stick, unfortunately. So we're just watching a little bit of the to and fro here between the two prop forwards, getting to know each other. Hey, well, I would like Italian tonight. No, I want French. No, seriously, what about Chinese? I don't like Chinese.
I love your lip reading abilities, especially when they're speaking Spanish
and Portuguese.
And Portuguese.
Yeah, exactly. They're just making dinner reservations. That's what all the prop forwards want to do.
I always wondered what prop forwards talk about.
Dinner reservations.
Actually, no, I've never really wondered.
Zagat rating, or there are other rating agencies, obviously.
Brazil now through Borat Koué. Feeds it. Plenty of space out wide. Duque, nice left to right pass to his fullback. That's Tronquez. Haven't seen much of his play. Muller just dancing his way over the halfway. Now comes through the hands nicely, but great defence. Chile, once again, they love to get off the line and put Brazil on the back foot. Stabbing it low was Reeves. He's well placed there, and he's had a great game from counter-attack. Ianiszewski, the danger man, brings it up in within 40 metres of the try line. That's a great tackle, and he has lost it in the tackle, so wasn't really expecting that from behind. Chile, another opportunity goes begging.
Yeah, so Ianiszewski really identifying the opportunities here. He sees a sort of a broken defensive line, some forwards in it. Good opportunity. It was just a little tap tackle there from the Brazilian halfback Koué that saved that clean break. So you're seeing the forwards in the last 5-10 minutes of both sides starting to tire a little bit. It's interesting, that last passage of play. Brazil do well when they go wide, but when they come back into the centre field, they struggle, because that's where they're hitting a very organised, strong Chilean forward defensive line.
You just saw earlier on Benjamin Soto returning to the field after his blood bin, and did very well in his absence. Manuel Dagnino, the number 19. Not missing much at all. So now Brazil, Reeves straight onto the boot, finds space, launches it long. That's a great kick from him, as Ianiszewski takes a little bit of time, gets it away under some pressure. So again, great gain through the boot of Reeves earlier, but Ianiszewski's done well with not a lot of angle at all there and under pressure.
Oh, look, that was a fantastic kick from Reeves. You're putting their fullback on the hash marks of the 2 5-metre lines, and Ianiszewski has hit a remarkable banana from there, which has gone out according to the linesman on the halfway. Some really good skill from the feet of both players there.
So Reeves really testing out the fullback and wingers with his tactile kicking. Brazil now seem to have numbers out the back. Duque, nice little pass there for the blind winger coming in. That was Balboltin.
Oh, little knock on again.
Once again, Brazil unable to capitalise. They were looking strong again, and they might have had some numbers there on the right, but not to be this time.
Just starting to see a little bit of gain for Brazil in those wide channels. I can't help but feel if they could get a dummy runner coming back on the inside, get one of the centres to stand still just for a minute, it'll create a bit of space on the outside. But at the moment, they're all drifting across the field, and, you know, it's a fairly easy defensive assignment for the Chileans.
Great analysis there, Johnny Cox. You're right, absolutely. If you can just hold some inside defenders, many ways you can do that.
Yep.
But for now, we're not seeing any of them necessarily being employed by Brazil. Just a lot of lateral running. It's a lot easier for the defence to handle. As Chile now just edging up to the 40-metre line. Another box kick from Perota. Down nicely from the fullback Tronquez, and he's beaten two in that little step of his. Ball comes down Game's starting to open up. Very entertaining now for the home crowd here in Santiago as Brazil edging over the halfway. Kuwait. Some deep passing there. Just hacking it through, rolling it along the ground. Not the best execution, but pressure relieving all the same.
Yeah, not a bad option really, given the fact that, you know, well in the backfield, and you really wouldn't want to turn it over with a minute or two left with none of your, virtually all your players in front of you. But yeah, we're just starting to see the game break up a little bit. Interesting, that last scrum, Brazil really seemed to have the medal on Chile, which is a bit of a surprise. It's my understanding that the Chileans had a pretty good set piece, but the big guys up front for Brazil are starting to wear the Chilean forwards down.
Had substitution for Chile. It was Larenas, the number 13, the captain, coming off. And Luca Avelli is on now with just under a minute to play. Brazil, Chile will be looking to apply the pressure and perhaps edge in front going into the dressing sheds, and they have the ball, so they have a chance to do that. Chile now, out to the right, great tackle straight around the ankles. And he's knocked it on, so Reeves, Fijian style, puts it between the legs, out to the right. What will they do, Brazil, now? Will they try and settle things down, knowing that there's only 30 seconds left? They're in front on the scoreboard. Would be a lovely psychological advantage for them to go in 10 points to 7 as they drive forward.
Some tired players out there now. Could be some opportunity, or maybe for Brazil here to open it up.
Little offload there. Quite dangerous play. Kleber Diaz was the man. Out to the left. Just putting it through the hands. Just ambling up to the halfway line. Nice width on that pass there from the scrum half. Might have been forward that last little pass, and that's knocked out, but it stays out of the field of play. So we have half-time being called there from the referee, Pablo De Luca. It looks like there might be 40 minutes and 20 seconds gone on the clock. This could be the last play of the game, Johnny.
Yeah, I thought it probably was going to be half-time, but I think he's deciding we're going to have this line out. He is the sole arbiter of time.
Absolutely.
So what we see on our screen is not necessarily the truth. So it looks like we're going to have this line out. Chance again for Chile to create some pressure.
I have to think this will be the last play of the game. Chile, they have an opportunity to perhaps edge in front. And lovely run there, bustling forward. Burisic almost getting through, creating some momentum for his team. Mail comes in, pick and drive, but he's well met. Actually driven backwards on that occasion. Richard driving forward. And it's a penalty in the ruck there, holding on. Not releasing the ball, so Brazil now with a penalty, and it's a quick tap. He's got numbers out to the right. Sees an opportunity. Put through the hands. Duque out to Sanseri. Strong tackle from Chile coming in. Brazil, what will they do? And Reeves does the smart thing and just puts it over the sideline. That's half-time. Wow. Take a break, folks. Do not go anywhere, because we have a sensational second half coming up. We are coming at you live from Estadio de la Pintana in Santiago for this second match of round one of the 2018 America's Rugby Championship. The hosts are trailing by 3 points. 7 points to Brazil's 10. It was a late charge from Brazil. And joining me in the commentary box, Johnny Cox. Here we have some highlights here. What do you make of that first half?
Well, this is the penalty try that was awarded to Chile. You can see there shoulder to shoulder, but Josh Reeves sort of inexplicably rolls the ball back with his hand. That's illegal. I was surprised actually that he didn't get a yellow card, but you can see here he forces the ball from his hand, either a pass or a palm back, whichever, and that is illegal in rugby union, so that's a penalty. And the referee considered that a try probably would have been scored if not for the foul play, hence awarding under the posts a 7-pointer to Chile. And then a really long distance shot here. I think it was from a scrum penalty from memory, and there. Brazil getting on the ball, and this from a strike move. Lovely inside hands there from the Brazilian fullback, and you see the number 3 come around the corner, Veterato. He was hungry for this one. Comes in, looks for the ball, and then he takes responsibility, says 2, 3, 4 steps of leg drive, and I'm sure in the bar afterwards that's going to be a 20 or 30 metre rumble for him. But a really good try, somewhat against the run of play. We have sort of felt throughout this game that Chile probably had the stronger, more complete game, and yet at the moment we see that Brazil are leading by 10 points to 7.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to Estadio de la Pintana in sunny Santiago. It is halftime at the moment here for round one of the America's Rugby Championship of 2018. The hosts, Chile, just narrowly narrowly behind the visitors, Brazil, 7 points to 10, as we see some of the statistics from the first half. Johnny Cox, what do you make of that?
Look, I think the interesting one here is the line-outs. Brazil have struggled a little bit in retaining some of their ball. It doesn't look as neat as Chile. We'll just have to see how that plays out. The scrums have pretty much gone to the head. There was actually one penalty from a scrum decision. I think looking at the game going forward, Chile will be thinking, how have we found ourselves behind? We've been playing really well. We feel like we're the stronger team, and yet we're down by 3.
Well, short break, folks. Don't go anywhere as the second half is coming up. And welcome back, viewers, to Estadio de la Pintana in beautiful sunny Santiago for this second game of the first round of the 2018 America's Rugby Championship between the hosts Chile and Brazil. Brazil getting the best of the score in the first half there. As if you're just joining us, by the way, you missed a fantastic first half, but don't despair. We expect plenty of fantastic rugby, especially in these conditions. I'm Mark Stabina, and joining me is Australian rugby legend Johnny Cox. A couple of quick comments about that first half and what you expect from the second half, Johnny.
Yeah, I think it was a really interesting first half in terms of how the teams went about, their strategy for breaking down the opposition. You could see Brazil trying to move the ball out wide with some success, and obviously now they're leading. But you do feel that Chile has probably more of a complete game. They're a little stronger in the middle of the field with their ball runners, and I do feel if they can continue to get a little bit more territory, possession in the critical places, they will break them down. But as a Chilean team, you're thinking, how are we down by 3 points? Is this going to be a repeat of last year? When we were sort of heavily favoured to maybe win this match, and yet, Brazil are really handing it to us. Two of the probably most influential players on the field are the fire half for Brazil, which is Josh Reeves, a New Zealand-born player who was obviously a key figure in that penalty try for his indiscretion. And then the fullback that really set up that penalty try for Chile, which is Inazeski. He's a very dynamic, broken field runner. So as the game wears on, the players get more tired. You see more tight forwards, perhaps stranded, in those broken field positions. And I think we're going to start to see a few more gaps and some end-to-end stuff. So, yeah, really exciting first half and very much looking forward to the next 40.
Should be a fantastic display of rugby. Perfect conditions for it, as Johnny Cox mentioned. And the game is starting to open up, which is fantastic spectacle. Some tired players out there, meaning there's a few more spaces to run into. And as you mentioned, Chile looking so strong early on, looking like they had the rub of the green and also applying all the pressure. It's just a matter of turning that pressure into points. But Brazil just holding on, and all it took was a little turnover, a breakout counter-attack play, and they were back on the scoreboard and actually nudged in front, and they kept it that way for the remainder of the first half. So Chile have gone in, probably some stern words from the coach, and I would imagine that they will employ similar tactics with that rush defense, just try and squeeze out the attack from Brazil. They were doing so well in that first half, but that man with the ball, Reeves, managing to get them out of all sorts of bother.
Yeah, and a mention of the back rowers for both sides. I think the number 6 for Brazil, Burgo, and the number 6 for Chile, the blindsides there, Ricardo, both had really good games, strong games both with the ball in hand and in defence. As we kick off here in the second half.
Reeves gets us underway. That's a strong run by the Chilean forwards there. Quick box kick, so no messing around in their own red zone. Chile. Reeves takes it, calls the mark.
And looks like we've had a substitution, actually. Burgo, I just mentioned, being replaced, it seems, by Mateus Cruz in the 20 jersey. Not sure if that's an injury or a more strategic substitution.
So Reeves now sending that ball long, keeps it in play. It's now Richard brings it back with gusto to the halfway line. Quick ball now. Good to see some interchanging of passing. We're looking at least 2 passes there. Nice little stab through. Yeah, Zuski. And that's well chased as well. Reeves gets it away. Space now for Brazil, out to the left. Van der Niekerk, we haven't seen much of him. He's quick, still going. Doesn't quite get away, might have lost that in the tackle, but it's actually, looks like it's out for a penalty. So we have advantage to Brazil. Nice offload there. The numbers coming through. Brazil with a spring in their step. Reeves takes it to the line. Lovely little pop pass. That was Sanseri coming off the hip. They work so well together. Quick tap and go. Here comes Brazil. Quick hands. Out to the hooker now. Dummies. Goes forward. Back on the inside. Nice little offload. Oh, it looks like it might be, yes, out to the right now. Plenty of hands and good tackle coming in. Just stifling Reeves. He wasn't expecting it. Brazil looking strong. Great interchange of passing. Inside, outside. Forwards and backs involved. But just that last knock on by Reeves has Chile now in possession of the ball. And a relieving pressure kick. Well, Brazil coming out all guns a-blazing, Johnny.
Yeah, really bright start from there, and you can tell, you know, either just a little bit of a hangover from the halftime break, or, you know, some tired legs getting going, but just some nice quick play from Brazil, really setting themselves up. We're just watching the final part here after the knock-on and the clearance kick. But yeah, just very impressive for Brazil. So they have good field position here, and they've got their tails up the start of the second half.
They certainly have. So they can come through. Reeves, midfield. It's Duque. Lays it back nicely. Allows for quick ball. And Burakue can come through and sweep that ball off the ground. It's been turned over, illegally so.
So that's 3 penalties in very quick succession from Chile at the breakdown. 2 in the previous passage of play, and then this one here now. So this shows you Chile sort of living on the edge, hanging on, and you can often tell those little breakdown penalties when you're under a bit of pressure because you're desperate, knowing that if you let them have the quick ball, you know, you could be punished. So this looks like a relatively, or probably the easiest kick that Josh Rees has had today. See if he can convert some early pressure into points and really start to put the hammer down here on Chile.
This is just the start that Brazil were looking for, building upon their lead that they went into the halftime break with. And it came late in that first half. We mentioned before, this is a very different looking Brazilian outfit from the first 20 or 25 minutes of the match. They have a lot of confidence. You can see the way they've started this second half. Should be a mere formality for Josh Reeves.
Nice, Josh!
Nice strike. Crowd like it. He likes it. Brazil like it. It's 13 points to 7 in favour of the visitors. Brazil. Chile now on the back foot early on in this second half.
Yeah, and kudos to Brazil because, you know, early on when they were trying to move the ball, they were finding it really tough, getting caught behind the gain line, having to realign. It was really only the kicking out of hand that Reeves that kept them in any kind of shape and structure. But, you know, they've kept at it. They've kept trying to play the ball quickly, trying to move it into the outside channels, and they really are starting to cause Chile some problems. So we're just going to have to see if Chile can get back to some field possession, get some possession, and really start to control the game.
Santiago Videla restarts. Brazil now remaining on their feet. At the back to Reeves. That left boot again. Finds some space. See which way it bounces. It bounces forward and over the sideline. Another great kick from Reeves. Keeping Chile just pinned down in their territory.
Yeah, mixing it up. You know, not feeling that he has to run the ball on every occasion, but put the ball in behind them. Now Chile are going to have to react. You know, they're going to force the ball from their own 22 because they feel like they need to chase the game. Or are they going to sort of take a more responsible approach, play the ball down there, try and get a bit more possession, and then build?
We saw in that first half Reeves was having to kick because there were no other options really, but now to be able to pick and choose and kick while you're on the front foot can be a devastating weapon, and just the man to do it as well. As Chile, once again, no messing around in their red zone. Nice box kick.
It's the biggest box kick I've ever seen in my life.
Long box kick, but
I think the line out was outside the 22. That is a very poor error there.
It is just those little technicalities.
Yeah.
Showing a lack of experience there, Johnny. You've really got to keep those things in mind.
Well, Peretta should know better. He's one of the more experienced guys in this Chilean team. He loves his left-footed box kick. It's on the perfect side of the field for him. Just need to take a little bit more notice there. But this puts Brazil right on the front foot.
Ostupis now in possession, prime location. Coming out now, Reeves taking it to the line. He loves doing that. Doesn't mind a bit of contact either. Bobbles around a little bit at the back. Brought in eventually. Diaz inching forward. This little pass over to the right. Stabs through Duque. Nice kick. Puts his body on the line was Januszewski. Looks like it might have been the right thing to do as well, as he's managed to nudge the ball back for one of his players to clean up. Again, just getting it out of that area. Good kick there. Duque unable to take it on the full, which buys a little bit more time for the chase. But he has certainly enough time to line up, keeps the ball in play, sends it long, but stays in the field of play. And this man has been a danger man for Chile as he chips, does not regather. Brazil with the ball. Entertaining stuff here in Santiago. Nice hands. Out to Aruda. He places it back. And Nikirk. Haven't seen much of him. Out to the right. Passes backwards. As there's an umbrella defense from Chile just coming up from the outside, led by Videla. Unable to force the turnover. Brazil now putting it through the phases, but losing territory in the process as Reeves now. This is what we talked about. It was a feature of the first half. Just no other options. Chip forward now and out on the full. So perhaps not the best tactic from Mauricio Urrutia, as Brazil will have a line out now around about the halfway.
Yeah, a chance for now Brazil to reset. Wasn't the best passage of play for them. We saw the Chilean defensive midfield start to get some superiority, so they need to think their way around that. And as the game, you know, starts to go on in deeper into this second half, I think we'll see some more spaces just on the edges out wide. So it's a nice catch, a little chip over the top. Unfortunately, he just chipped it straight out.
Urrutia probably feeling like he didn't have much support, so he took it upon himself. Just lacking a little bit of execution, but you can't fault the man for his confidence. And just like the first half, some early kicking duels ensuing. Januszewski, the last man to put ball to boot. We have a substitution now.
Try scorer coming off Federato. I've been really impressed with him. I actually thought it had some fantastic interventions in the first 10 minutes of this first half. So it's a surprise for me to see him go off, because I thought he still had quite a bit of running in him. But we'll look and see how this the new substitute here goes. He's had an impressive game, the tight head prop Federato, with a try, some good ball handling, taking forward, involvements in rucks and mauls and tackling. So a good game from him.
Taking a much needed water break. Hot conditions here in Santiago, Chile. 28 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, the big guys are going to struggle with that one as this game goes on. We haven't stopped the clock, it seems, for this particular stoppage, which probably is why we ran over a little bit in the first half, because we're not stopping the clock for these types of injury breaks.
That's right, so the referee's watch will appear different to what we see on screen.
And a very good tackle there from the Chilean
Escobar.
Yeah, he's a young kid, he's come from the under-20, so he's not intimidated by playing with the big boys.
Not at all. Great to see. Player of the future for sure. Rossetti, the captain, throws it to the front again.
Second time they've done it there today.
And second time it's worked as well, as Brazil now looking to spark something. Out to the right, plenty of numbers.
Oh,
nice run. He's
run
run so well. Two. He's beaten two. Can he beat a third? Gets it out the back. Doesn't look. That was a little ambitious. After such a great run, Paganini, he's been dangerous with ball in hand. Once again, just lacking a bit of discipline. Flicking it out the back, not even looking where it was going. Chile now. Kick it deep. Looks like Duque, not much opportunity but to put it down. It was actually Tranquez. Chile now. Out to the right. Charging forward. Finally some possession and some territory. Deep pass there from the 9 to the 10. It's allowing Brazil just to get some line speed, put some pressure on, and force Chile back. Good counter-rucking there. Ball comes out quickly. 3v2. Ball goes to ground before it finds the player out wide, and he is tackled out to touch by Reeves. So Chile just looking a little disjointed here.
Yeah, I think they're in a little bit of, a little bit of shock here. This is the break here from the big second row for Brazil, Paganini. And it's one of these things, you get in the open spaces, your eyes light up, and then you think, right, I've got to finish it. Well, actually you don't. And in fact, it's harder. Once you get into space, it's much harder skill to execute the next part because it's so dynamic. Whereas when you're sort of in the normal sort of passing movements, everything's very controlled. So, but he'll learn from that. That's a sort of teaching point for the coach as they go forward. But fantastic break, good palm off, strength, bust out of two. But Chile really need to lift here. They need to lift and get some control on the game, because they're not controlling much of any aspect of the game at the moment, whether it's the set piece, whether it's the breakdown. So they really need to have a think. Some of the senior players now need to get together, put together a simple game plan, get back to their strengths, which is those direct runners, 1, 2 off the ruck. Start building some pressure on Brazil. Get them to make some tackles. Get them tired in this heat.
Made a good point before, Johnny, about you make that break. It's a lot different to just ball in hand and the defence in front of you. Once you get in behind the defence, you have defenders coming from all angles. Unless you've got eyes in the back of your head. Yeah,
and the pass is always more difficult when you make a break. The players are not in the normal places. They're not in a normal backline move or in a sort of close forward environment. So it just makes it much more difficult to execute.
Brazil now win their line out. Through the hands, always a couple of passes there from the forwards. Diaz always looking for that offload as well. Makes a good decision by holding on to it. Let's put down the throat of Januszewski. Such a great positional player. Not just a good runner, but he knows where to stand on the field as well, as any good fullback should. Racing up out of the line. That's dangerous stuff, as you see there. You miss the tackle. Allows for the attack to just get in behind. But Brazil still under control as Chile have numbers out to the right. And it's dropped just out the back there. That could have gone to hand. It might have been an opportunity out wide, but that was not to be.
Yeah, starting to put together a few, phases, a bit of front football, and then just that mistake, that simple error. Well, it didn't look like it was too bad of a pass. It's just unfortunate. It's a little bit out front, but, at this level, the amount of rugby these guys are playing, you should be catching that. Might have seen the big number 8 from Brazil, Aruda, looming up at him and thought, well, if I catch this, I might be running into one of those shoulders. So, but we'll see.
That's definitely what I think was happening there. And the reason I know this is because I've been in that situation. And
you've been juggling it in front of your toes.
Juggling.
There's been some big forward out there waiting to belt you.
That peripheral vision, just you can see a big man in sight, and I don't know, the fight or flight mechanism kicks in, and you just decide, do I catch this ball cleanly and, possibly get laid out for the next 30 seconds, or do I look after my health? So that could have been what happened there.
Yeah.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he's playing for his country at home, so...
yes, take the 30 seconds on the ground.
Absolutely.
Courageous, wearing the red colours of Chile, Los Condores, what they are affectionately known as. There's a little break in play, allowing players just to catch their breath and see, going through plenty of H2O.
Yeah,
Water boys are very busy today.
It's the prop forward going for the slightly faster boots there. Got a few changes now running on, 21 and 22 coming on from Chile.
And you can see Beltran Vegara in the number 21. And Pizarro. Benjamin Pizarro, 33 years of age. Got 6 caps for his country. So some fresh legs coming on. Let's see if they can inject little
look,
energy.
and I think Mark Cross, the coach of Chile, had to do something. They're not getting control on the game. They're not coming up with the solutions here. And Brazil are edging their way forward to victory. And this next 10-15 minutes is absolutely crucial. Chile need to get some territory, need to control some possession and get a score. Any score will do, actually, for them, a penalty or a try. But at the moment, they're just starting to get a little bit ragged.
Yeah, they seem to be out of it. They seem not just on the score. They're in touch, but they just seem a little bit out of touch.
Another good scrum from Brazil.
They're bringing it out through the hands now. Duque fires it out to the right. That's lovely hands. A little overlap, but good cover defense coming across. Staying strong on his feet is Sanseri. Taking it to ground. And well stripped by Januszewski, but he did say release the player.
He did. He did. And it's just your knee that needs to go on the ground there, and then it becomes a ruck, and then you're obligated to release. So, another mistake at the breakdown there from Chile. That penalty count in the second half is certainly mounting here. That doesn't make it any easier. And whenever you're within about 50-55 metres of the sticks, that brings in Josh Reeves.
We mentioned that earlier, and I'm sure that was mentioned by the coaching staff at halftime. Maintain discipline, lads, because Josh Reeves has a radar boot on him. This is his preferred side as well with the left boot. Just curl it in left to right, but he has both direction and distance, especially at altitude. So he'll be looking to build upon the score yet again and just putting Brazil a little further out of touch. It's also eating up valuable time that Chile need to just get something happening. Reeves now. His toughest angle so far. Nice strike, keeps that head down. Looks like he's just pulled it a little bit, and that just creeps outside the right upright. So Chile let off the hook there, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to be slightly disappointed with that, but he does strike the ball really nicely off the tee, I have to say.
Good kicker of the ball. As is this man. That's a nice long kick there. Plenty of numbers down, and here comes the young substitute. It's Del Rio, only 21 years of age. Brings it back with force. Oh, he's just flicked it to the wrong man there. They had some numbers out to the left. Chile turn it over. Little dummy out to the left. That's a nice run. That's what they're looking for. Even if it's just a couple of metres gain, just need to get in behind the Brazilian defence. Nice long pass out to the left, allowing the defence to drift across, and that's a strong tackle. Gets it back inside. Well done there from Benjamin Soto. Numbers coming in, wasn't expecting that, just went past the first player. A bit of a blind spot there for the second runner, and he's knocked it on.
Just must be so frustrating for Chile. You can tell if they can get a bit of structure to their game, not force the ball, some really simple things, they can make really good yards, but they just seem to be their own worst enemy. They force it, it's a missed assignment, it's a poor pass, it's a poor choice. You know, just a little bit more control, a little bit more patience, and they will be able to get back into this game, I'm sure of it. It's good to see Soto back on the ball. We haven't called his name, we haven't seen him in action for about 20 minutes now, and they need their big game players, really from Chile, to step up.
Notice there, the man that put the ball down in the end was Nicolas Garafulic. Only 20 years of age. He's on debut today. It's a big occasion for Nicola.
Yeah.
Not the best early touch that you want. I'm sure there's some nerves firing right now. A nice little composed effort. It'd be good to just get yourself into the game.
Yeah, the halfback fires it across the designated runner at your knees.
There you go, young fella.
Yeah, welcome. And it's probably thinking, should have caught it, should have caught it.
Good scrum from Brazil, coming out to the right now. Just comes back inside, does well to keep in the field of play. Burad Coué to the left now. Reeves comes in as acting scrum half. Forwards try and get around the corner.
I think he's taken or had both boots fall off there. Which is quite, I've never seen that happen in my life.
Well, there's a first for everything. Januszewski, lethal on the counter-attack. He's equally met, tries to fling it back inside in desperation. He has, he's just...
Number 18 has lost both shoes.
Well, he really needs to learn how to tie his shoes, I think.
I've never seen that. I've seen one go, but I've never seen two.
Yeah, how do you get... What happens...
To lose two boots?
I
don't know. I mean, someone could stand on them simultaneously, or as you say, I mean, he's a substitute. Maybe he didn't know he was coming on. He didn't tie them on properly.
Tie them on, or he's borrowed somebody else's.
He's borrowed someone else's, and they're a little bit too big or too small.
Size too big. Yeah.
But for them both to come off at the same time, it's pretty amazing, really.
Well, this game has everything,
doesn't it? What,
folks? If you're just joining us, welcome. Just in time. You are witnessing a tight encounter between the hosts Chile and Brazil, the visitors. First round of this America's Rugby Championship of 2018. We've already had one match, and that was quite an upset, with Uruguay beating Canada 38 points to 29. So Uruguay just jumped to the front of the table, top of the league.
And a really exciting game to look forward to this afternoon, Mark.
Yes, indeed. Reigning champions, the USA, playing Argentina, who have won pretty much every other ARC championship. So don't forget to tune into that. But for now, let's be present for these two teams going at it toe-to-toe, 13 points to 7. 20 points left. Brazil with the ball out to the left.
Penalty advantage here for Brazil, looks like.
He's now just dragged down. Doesn't have his arm out, but we know it's advantage. Just holding firm. Chile. Good defence. Duque just throws it out to the right. We come back to the original infringement.
Yeah, I think it was an offside there. Oh, little bit of afters there. Probably unnecessary. In this heat, I'd be saving your energy, mate.
For sure, just showing their frustration, I think.
Sort of pushing, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, you know, De La Fuente, I honestly don't think we've heard his name called today. I mean, you know, he's made some good tackling assignments, but he just has not got the ball in a decent position. It's just been very frustrating for those sort of key strike players for Chile. This is the number 8 picking off the base of the scrum. Nice 8-9, 14 move here. Did it nicely. Made a little bit of space. Just comes around the corner. Sticks the numbers. The first defender there. This is our friend with his 2 shoes off. Johnny T shoes.
Johnny no shoes.
Johnny no shoes.
Sure, it was a welcome rest for him. Maybe it's a tactic.
Yes,
Jonathan.
Possibly.
Let me just half tie these boots, and when I get a little tired, just push the ejector, the eject button. Just launch out of my boots. Get that well-needed rest and water. Hot day here in Santiago. As Reeves, it's another opportunity to build the score. This will put Chile at least 2 scores out of range. It's a lovely kick as well, and he is on point. So Joshua Reeves adds 3 points. Brazil now streaking away with their lead and looking very comfortable indeed in this second half. Only 20 minutes to play. What can the hosts do?
Well, Chile needs a try, a converted try, and a penalty to get back into this game. And it needs to start now with 20 minutes to go. They've had a pretty poor start to the second half, shown very, very little in terms of their ability to manage play. So let's see what happens as they kick off here.
And
oh dear, out in the full.
Santiago Videla. I mean, we just have a look at these 2 fly halves going head to head. Joshua Reeves, 27 years of age, plenty of experience, out of New Zealand. He's already played 5 America's Rugby Championship matches versus Santiago Videla, only 20 years of age. This is his first ARC match, and he's got 4 caps under his belt for Chile. So
yeah, but I think that, you know, the responsibility lies with the more experienced players, and the key sort of parts of this Chilean team are the number 8 and the number 9. They've got, you know, 30-odd caps each. They've been here, done it before. They've played, you know, good stand of rugby. Ben Soto plays in France. They're the ones that should be taking control here. You know, Pereira's decision-making, you know, he struggled a little bit, and when he's been put under pressure.
There's Reeves again, putting it low and long. Januszewski up to the task. Reeves has been making him run around the field, but Januszewski handling well, and now counterattack coming in. They need to do something. Chile, little dummy coming through the middle. That's strong, running with conviction. Look at that, beats 1, beats 2, over the top, little basketball pass. Finds a Chilean player in the form of Balbotin. Chile now, their best opportunity. To the right now, a little inside pass, and that's a nice ball. Another offload back on the inside. Here comes Chile. Can they go all the way? Looks like they will. Inside, outside, and look at the replacements. There must have been 3 of them, just combining the fresh legs, the fresh hands. Chile back on the board after a long period of nothing, really. 16 points to 12. Johnny Cox, if they add the extras, we are back in the game.
Well, fantastic score. And let's say kudos here to Mark Cross, the coach. He made the changes, and it was all the substitutes combining there. It was another good searching kick from Josh Reeves, but a great pickup, and we saw some lovely interplay in the hands here. Nice speed on the outside. Gave the ball early. Great lesson for everybody. Don't wait for contact. And that's your young man, I think the 20-year-old on his debut, dotting down under the stick. So fantastic for him. What a great try. Looks up, ball in 2 hands, gives it early. Nice step. Well, swan dive. That is Mark Stabarin, a swan dive of old.
I still do that.
On the sand.
Just wherever I can. Don't need a rugby ball to do a swan dive. So adding the extras.
Wow.
16 points to 14. The hosts back in the game. That has brought the home crowd to life. As you said, that young man, lovely occasion for him.
And that's probably the first time I think that Chile has been in their 22 with possession. I mean, and that's the sort of the struggle that they've had. If they can control possession, they look like they're the stronger team. They look like if they do the simple things well, you know, they can get on top. What a great try. Try on debut for Garafulic. That's a fantastic score. Good on him.
Wonderful occasion for this young man. Especially after we gave him a little bit of heat for that early touch around the knees.
Well, it wasn't his fault, but, you know.
But again, not a great way to settle the nerves, but he has bounced right back, and that is the sign of a good player.
Yeah,
good
catch and step, you know, got a good natural feel for it. You know, gets it, sees the space. You're an athletic, tall guy. Good on him. He's fired up. He's got his team back into this, and they needed it. They needed it. So congratulations to all those 3 substitutes that have come on. Really making a difference here. Garafulic, Vergara, Pizarro. Pizarro made the initial break when they got possession back. Is that Duque going off there, or is that the fullback? I think it's the fullback with the white boots, Tranquez. Oh dear, it's never good to see someone come off on a stretcher.
Interesting to see what they do with their replacements now. I know that Reeves has played a little fullback.
Yeah, I mean, he may play. They may end up playing him fullback in defence and him play 10 in attack.
It'd be silly to put him anywhere other than in the position.
I think that is Tranquez. I think the fullback. He's smiling, so could be, you know, just a little bit of the medical staff making sure, as opposed to him being really seriously hurt.
Good to see him smiling after all. It was actually, after all that, Lucas Müller was the man going off. So, Tranquez lives to fight another day. As the ball goes high and long and out for Chile. Still just thinking of that last try. You know, that might be the way. You notice once they got in behind, it was those little offloads, Johnny, the interchange of passing, and as you mentioned, it was the replacements, the fresh legs, just the presence of mind to follow up and support their pass and be there, and it made all the difference.
Yeah, it's a bit of speed on the ball, a bit of dynamism, a bit of energy, and then just doing the simple things, not looking to throw the, you know, the Hail Mary or the 50-50, but just giving good early passes and backing up.
Seeing Nikola Borusic leaving the field. Couple of replacements coming in. Broderick is in as well for Van Niekerk. See what he can do. Van Niekerk's been a little quiet. As Duque launches that one into the stratosphere. Brought down very nicely by, again, one of those lively replacements for Chile. He's still going. Look at Aveli. Great run. Chile now. Plenty of confidence. They have their tails up. They also have the benefit of the home crowd behind them. Box kick there from Vergara. Puts it high. Inside the 22. Well taken. Nice little step. Beats 2 defenders in the process. Another one. Beautiful on his feet there. Burak Kuhe has had a good game. Out to the left. Numbers again. Just settling things down. Nowhere to go, but bailing it out the back. Losing some yardage. Placement scrum half. Broderick coming in. And Reeves again says, just give it to me. I'll get us down there, but it looked like it may have gone out in the fourth.
Certainly land on the line, yeah.
Janewski is appealing. He certainly had a better look at it than the referee.
Yeah.
So it will come back, and it will be Chile's ball from where Josh Reeves had originally put ball to boot.
Yeah, and we've seen that replacement. I think Broderick's come on to play halfback, and Burak Kuhe has moved out to the wing or the outside backs to cover because of the substitution.
So Chile now with the ball. Here we go. 13 minutes to play, and that is a great strip. Brazil needed that because Chile are looking strong and ominous. As Duque does what he can just to relieve pressure, but that man again, Ian Ozuski, perfectly placed, brings his team back to the 40-metre line as the red jerseys line up.
This is what they need, simple rugby. 1, 2-man outrunners. They'll get themselves in a good place. Don't force it.
Putting it through their hands, but it looks like it was lost forward there. Just couldn't quite pull it in. Duceon.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration. They just need really simple rugby. Pass the ball in front of contact. They've got big, strong runners. They've got their tails up. They look like they're getting some semblance of control back in this game. But this is just 1 or 2 passes too many. Just trying to force the ball is a poor decision from him. About making strong choices in contact from these guys.
It's good to see the forwards aren't afraid to at least throw it around. But sometimes, as you say, you've got to take your medicine. When you're under pressure like that, if it's not the opportune time,
take the ball in, reset, make an offside line and give yourself a little bit more opportunity on the next phase. Don't have to score every time you get the ball. There's a bit of cramp setting in now, as you'd expect, with what, just under nearly 11 minutes to go now. And you could imagine some of the Brazilian players thinking, well, if I can just, take a little bit of a moment here, take a little bit more time out of the clock. Brazil, you just get the sense they're fraying a little bit. It's going to come down to Reeves for sure. Can he get them some field position? Because you do get the sense that Chile's not going to go 90 to win this one.
And if you're just joining us, where have you been? Missed an amazing game as the score indicates, but not to worry, you still have 11 minutes of fantastic rugby. I'm Mark Stabina. With me, Johnny Cox, Australian rugby legend. And expect a cliffhanger as Brazil now bring it through Reeves, punching it low.
Good kick from him. You can tell Brazil struggling a wee bit, fatigue setting in at this, sort of altitude type position here in Santiago. It's not enormously high, but it does have some effect for sure. The ball does fly a little bit longer. And here we are. So Chile need to control the ball. Don't get desperate. There's still quite a long time here. Play territory, play possession. And things will happen for them.
Nice. Lucion to the back. That's well brought in from Garofulik. Full of confidence now after his try-scoring effort. Looks like it might have been stripped there.
Great strip. Yes, Soto getting manhandled, but they've got it back.
They've got it back. Well done by Chile, and they've got numbers too out to the right. Just ball through the hands. He's got one on the outside, one on the inside. Holds on to it. Ball in 2 hands. That's good play. Arveli. Numbers now for Chile. Out to the left. Brazil doing a good job at putting defence in place. As it comes out the back door. Racing up was Sanseri, and he's done a good job as well, forcing them back. Still in possession are Chile. Piling over now, counter-rucking, trying to win that elusive turnover. It looks like they've done it as well.
Yeah,
so, Brazil, here they go. Digging it out the back, out to the left. The replacement. Michel Olimpio, and that's Vanzinha by nickname. Making some nice yards here are Brazil. Out to the left now. Coming around the corner, Reeves. We just can't quite pull in that offload as well. So panic play there from the floor. As Chile may have... No, they've thrown it back into Reeves. Johnny on the spot. So Brazil now. Prime attacking opportunity. 16 points to 14. 9 minutes to play. If they can dot down here in this phase, well... Chile have a lot to do to come back, and they have just got away with it. So Chile,
tiny knock on there, just a tiny little knock on, and you did feel Chile were just hanging on
by a thread, Johnny.
Oh dear me! And look at that, the decision here. You have to wonder. It feels like he's going out, so he just throws it back in again. Sometimes just better. Get the ball out of play, get reset. Put his team under an enormous amount of pressure.
Good reaction by Reeves as well to pounce on that one.
You can see the players there. They're pretty tight here. Tight forwards having a couple of moments.
It's very tough to play a continuous match. There have been some long periods of play as well.
The ball's been in play quite a long time during this game. It's been pretty entertaining stuff. So, yeah, I'm sure the players are feeling it.
Especially in this heat. 28, nudging 29 degrees Celsius. Just over 90 degrees Fahrenheit for our American audience. So it is hot in Santiago. Coming out of Estadio de la Pintana. 6,000 seat stadium. Nice.
So big scrum here for Brazil. Big opportunity now. They've had a little bit of rest. One of their tight forwards had a little bit of treatment. So they've had a minute or two to get their breath back. They've had the slightly stronger scrum, in my opinion. So let's see what Chile can bring. Can they get a strong platform here to get an exit strategy?
So 8 minutes to play. Strap yourselves in, folks.
It's a wee bit messy. I think he's going to have to reset it, and he is. So you can see the shuffling of the feet there. The normal thing after a collapse scrum, everybody pointing to someone else. It's not my fault, it's his fault. See that around the world in rugby these days. But the movement of the feet is probably showing that there are a lot of tired bodies out there. Hard to get a strong base when you're a little bit fatigued. This is a key moment. Clock is ticking on this reset.
Chile now under immense pressure.
And Soto, the number 8. You have to be very clear here in his decision making at the base. Yeah, and that from mine. Oh, you saw there on that far side there, the Brazilian prop just, his feet were nowhere near where they needed to be, and he went straight on his stomach. He needs to control his body position a little better. He's lucky to get away with that.
Expert comments from Johnny Cox here. Number 6/number 8 himself in his glory days.
Small G glory.
Not at all, John. Very modest man indeed. Chile.
Refs come round to this side to have a look where the problems were. It's a good contest. Brazil put the heat on. Good pick up from Soto. Beats 1. Carries 2 through. Really good. Out of that tackle up to the 22. That is classy stuff from the number 8.
He's managed to bring his team single-handedly up to the 22, all the way from the 5-metre line, and now it goes back 10 metres for the kick. And that's gone out to touch. So, leaving pressure, good exit tactic, and as Johnny mentioned, it was all that man Soto from the base, carrying the entire weight of the team on his shoulders.
Really good play from him. Ball in one hand, fighting them off, skipping out of the tackles, driving. Even when you think you're going down, he's saying, no, I'm going to take a couple more metres. It really is good play.
And that's what you mentioned before, Johnny. It's those key players, the experienced players that need to step up. That's exactly what he's done in that situation, in a pressure situation as well. Yeah.
You make a mistake there and you get a turnover or you give away a penalty, that's the game, it's over. We've got 5 minutes left now. And again, you can see the Brazilians, taking their time. The scoreboard is on their side. So, this is not to be unexpected. But a few whistles I think I can hear in the background there from the Chilean fans. They want the game to get on.
Rossetti, the captain now. Third time they've done that. At the front.
Does well to stay in.
Here they go. Brazil. See now, Chile racing up in defence. There's only 5 minutes left. They need to throw everything at Brazil now.
They'll get a chance. They just need to be controlled here.
And disciplined. We've seen what Josh Reeves can do, especially from this part of the field. So applying pressure, but doing it legally will be the order of the day for Chile, and that might have been just what they needed. Quick throw. Play on. Looks left, back on the inside now. Chile just rushing that pass, but it might have gone off and that could be a knock on. It's play on. The referee's got his arm out in favour of Chile. They're on the charge now, back on the inside. Now back to the outside, and just that last pass going to ground. Matias Balbaltin.
Well, a few mistakes there from both sides, but Chile really had an opportunity from that knock on. Just forcing the pass, there really is no need. He had a look. Absolutely had a look at the big number 22, which is Roberto Tenorio, bearing down on him. He was like, well, for country, not today.
Not today. I mean, that ball could not have been placed any more in the centre of his chest. Yeah. So you're absolutely right, Johnny.
Right on the sponsor's mark.
That was...
It's a shame, but they still have good field position here. And as you see in most games like this, if you're defending a slim lead, you get very conservative. So Brazil will, look to slow the game down. They'll probably kick either after the first or at, the initial phase. So you will get another chance.
So under 4 minutes to play here. First round of the Americas Rugby Championship for these two teams.
What Chile don't want to do here is give a penalty away. Just don't be too over-anxious. They're feeling the pressure as much as you are.
On the edge of the seat stuff here. Reeves, high and long toward the sideline.
Well taken.
Takes it nicely. And
oh no, he's called a little knock on.
I did see actually the ball left his hands on the ground. And the referee has done very well to spot that one. May have been assisted by the touch judge there.
Yeah, nice one-pass wipers kick there. And just a little tiny drop. That's a shame there for Chile. That was an opportunity for them, but you have to say good execution from Brazil.
And wonderful chase as well.
Yeah.
Applying that pressure.
Chile could have probably done a little better on that scrum, get a bit of angle, make it more difficult for the halfback to hit first receiver. Just a little bit passive in that situation. 2.5 minutes to go by our clock. Probably a little bit longer with injury time.
So the replacement scrum half, William Broderick, feeds the scrum out to Reeves now. Drops it back on the inside. Sanseri coming back to the left.
Chile need a turnover here. Need to get some hands on the ball.
Paganini driving forward. He's had a good game as well. Brazil stuck on their halfway line. Inside passes, well met. Offload from the ground, keeping the ball alive well, Brazil. 2 minutes to play. Brazil holding on. Chile hoping for something, applying pressure, getting off the line quickly. Almost through was Diaz. And Reeves doing what he does best, just rolling it along, eating up time, gaining more territory. Time is ticking away for Chile.
Yeah, and at the wrong part of the field for them, really. I don't see them stringing together 60, 70-metre moves. So they do probably need to play a little bit of territory. We haven't seen long raking kicks from Chile, really, in this game. But this might be the time to bring it out of the bag. Test the fullback.
I think, again, as mentioned before, it comes down to the experience. Santiago Videla normally be the man from 10 to put those kicks in. He's just been a bit of a link man for Los Condores. Driving forward now. Under a minute left. Cliffhanger of a match here in Santiago, Chile. Out to the right. There's that kick, but it's charged down. Too much pressure. Still in the hands of Chile. Well, pressure piling on here from the yellow jerseys of Ostupis, the Brazilian national team.
Great counter-ruck from Brazil.
And it looks like they've come up with a turnover. They have. Back out to the right. Brazil. 20 seconds left on the clock.
Another turnover. Chile have it. This has got to be somewhat last chance saloon for them.
And they've got numbers. Out to the right. Long pass. They keep the ball in hand. They've got a long way to go, but they can certainly do it. This is the last throw of the dice for Chile. What can they do? They can give a penalty away. That's what they can do, which is not what they want to do. And, wow.
Yeah, it's well done there from Sanseri. He got in nice and early. Got himself in a really strong position to get that turnover. So well done him. And you have to say that Brazilian defence here at Isonsa is in really good position. Did he release the player and allow him to play or pass the ball? But he was in a very good position. What's interesting is that the referee has actually let the play go largely at the breakdown. We've had very few breakdown penalties, but he's made a key decision here in the last minute or so, and predictably, obviously, Josh Reeve is going to go for goal, as much for the 90 seconds or so that he can take out of the clock.
We have to say that this will be the nail in the coffin for Brazil, for Chile's coffin.
Here we go.
They had a late revival here in the second half. It was all Chile, you'd have to say, for the first 20-25 minutes of the match. Brazil clawed their way back into the game and surprisingly took the lead right before half-time, as it didn't even look like he was going for the posts.
Because it's the end of the game.
That's right, because, yeah, if it doesn't go dead and it comes down in the hands, you're right, Johnny Cox, and that gives it gives Chile an opportunity for a 105-metre try, but not to be smart. And that shows the experience yet again of Joshua Reeves, New Zealand-born player. But what you'd have to say, an upset again, especially at home.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Chile.
But congratulations to Brazil. It's been a fantastic game for them. A win well deserved. You know, they stuck with their game plan. They took their chances. They moved the ball really nicely. Chile will ultimately be extremely disappointed. There were large passages of that game where they just did not seem to get into it. They couldn't get any level of control. They forced passes. They made simple mistakes. When they put a couple of things together, they looked really, really good. So for Chile and for their coaching team of Mark Cross, I think they will be disappointed. They'll have to go back to the drawing board for next week because this competition doesn't stop. We're on the road again. But fantastic play from Brazil, really led by Josh Reeves, supported by some of his key forwards, Paganini, Burgo, Diaz, and also the fullback had a good game, and Sansari for that last critical turnover. But a great team performance for them. I was very impressed with the halfback, Burakue, who ended up in the outside backs with that injury at the end. But, yeah, fantastic performance. And, of course, the try scorer, the big guy, Veterato, I thought he was extremely influential, both in the tight and around the loose. So you can see the smiles. They were fired up during the anthem, and they've delivered here today. So congratulations to Brazil.
Great effort from Brazil. Now they go on to play Uruguay at home, so going into that match with a lot of confidence. Chile, on the other hand, are facing Argentina in round 2 of this championship away. So what do you think they need to do, just briefly, going into that match?
Oh, look, for Chile, they do need to regroup. They also need to go back and have a look at the things that they can do really well. They need to go back and be confident. You could tell when they started to get behind at the end of the first half and at the beginning of the second, they just lost their composure. So the coach needs to take them back to those places and positions where they say, hey, we can do good things really, really well. And obviously, they're going to have to bring an emotional intensity next week to be able to challenge Argentina.
Well, on your screen at the moment are the victors on the road as well. Fantastic win for Brazil. Number 10, Josh Reeves, you see in picture, instrumental in this victory. Definitely a key to the strength of this team. So well done to Os Dupis, opening their America's Rugby Championship with a victory in Chile. Fantastic effort and an entertaining match of rugby as well. Wonderful spectacle for all concerned, including us here in the commentary box. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Mark Stabina here, joined by the expert analysis of Australian rugby legend and back row forward Johnny Cox. It's always a pleasure, Johnny.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, and a great win there for Brazil. You can tell, you can see how happy they are with that. They've come here just as they did in the first round last year, and they've got the win against Chile. It's the first one they've had. I think it's, a third total win against Chile in their history, so you can just see how much it means to them, and congratulations. Both teams have to regroup, move on, get over the disappointment and the elation, because this competition doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. It does not stop. It keeps going. We have 4 more rounds of this America's Rugby Championship. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the match as much as us. Live here from Santiago, Chile. The hosts have gone down to Brazil in a close encounter. And what a great match of rugby. From Mark Stabina and Johnny Cox, signing off. It's been a pleasure.